Oh my goodness. It's the first time I've done this in genuinely, I think, a year. Oh my god, that's kind of scary to think about. Um, Hi, in case you don't know me, I make maps. I haven't uploaded on this channel in a while, making any, because I've been quite busy with other stuff. But I'm not busy anymore, so I can go to playtests, I get to play cool maps, I get to talk about cool maps, and the most fun part for me is I get to make cool maps, and then watch people play them, and then get crazy feedback, and then make more maps, or work on the same map, but do more with it. Today we have by far the most bizarre map I think I have ever made by a couple degrees. I don't know, some other maps might be close, but this is definitely the most weird map I've made in recent memory. Yes, that counts my other maps I've made. This is a map that has a working title of Dorito, and it is a part of the special delivery game mode, but it's a bit ambiguous. Just pretend for sake of argument and clarity, this is a new game mode that you've never heard of before. Because it's basically what it is. As you can obviously see, I'm on green team, and this is 3-team, which means this isn't even like a standard red versus blue affair. This is actually a 3-team map that I made, conceptualizing an implementation for the Team Fortress 2 classified feature known as elimination. If you didn't know, you can disable teams and enable teams by typing in commands. I believe it's, yes, TF activate team. You can just add teams and deactivate teams. I think it's just deactivate team? Yeah. So as you can see right there, by just typing in a simple console command, I can add in a whole nother team. I don't actually think it'll do anything on this map because I don't have any spawns for yellow set, so I am actually curious where this is going to spawn me. Oh. Well, while we wait for that, so I wanted to make a map that utilized this feature in a way that wasn't the expected one. Um, I have played a couple of maps so far. Oh, that's funny, it just puts me on here. Okay, I didn't know that. And then if I get deactivated, I get forced to another team, which is fine. But, yeah. What I have done is make a map that I haven't really seen other people work on before. I need to do this because this is gonna annoy me if I don't turn this down. But I made a map that uses the team elimination feature in a way that I don't think many other maps do. The team elimination feature is usually utilized in maps in a manner of my team is winning, and then I kill you, and now the losing team gets dispersed. Actually, I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna open up MS Paint. Okay, so I'm here in MS Paint. Okay, so why did I do this? Let's grab a bunch of these. We are going to put 6 red dots, 6 green dots, 6 blue dots, and 6 yellow dots. If you can't tell what I've created here, this is the typical disbursement of players in a common 4-team, 24-player map server setting. With each team having 6 players, every team in theory here is balanced. But in practice, they aren't. Due to either team scrambling, due to either how the players join the server in the order that they did or whatever. Let's just say, for sake of argument, red team is full of people who are just amazing at the game. So red team is crushing all of the other teams. And this is the kind of mode where, for sake of argument, let's say each team has a capture point, and when it's captured, they get eliminated. So red team captures blue's point and eliminates them. So now blue team's players get dispersed evenly amongst the rest of the teams. And the way that this works is because there's 6 players on this team. Obviously, that means that 2 players get put onto each team. The problem is that I find oftentimes in elimination game mode maps is that even though these players get dispersed to the other teams, all of these players here are going to feel like they aren't doing anything because this team is just goated. This team was already winning before they had 2 more players on their team from blue team. They're probably still going to keep winning even when these players get added. In fact, they're probably going to win harder because now they just have more manpower. It doesn't really matter how good these 2 blue players are because this team is just already such a stacked unit. So we play out this round, and let's say the next team to fall is green, just so I can fix their circles. Green team falls, and now these players, 4 of them, go to yellow team down here, and 4 of them go to red team over here. And now we're kind of back to a typical 12v12 format, except this team is full of players. Like half of this team is players who have all just been steamrolling every single round. They're the reason for these teams getting eliminated. And this team is full of a mishmash of the trash. Now, don't get me wrong, I love an underdog story just as much as the next guy, but I want to run this same scenario again with you with maybe an inverse philosophy. My entire concept for the map Dorito stemmed from this thought of what if instead of a team winning and then eliminating the losing team, what if the team that won had its good players dispersed into other teams that were weaker and losing? So let's take that exact same scenario, except this time, let's say there's a central control point, because this was how I originally thought the mode would work. There's a central control point, and when that team wins, they escape. They leave the map. They win. They get to go off to Valhalla and live their best lives. Red team captures the point first. They are also the team with all of the best players, as we said in the earlier example. Except now, 2 of them go to green team, 2 of them go to blue team, and 2 of them go to yellow. Now whose team is strongest? Because red team just won, but now all of those great players are evenly dispersed to the worst teams. Let's take this one step further. Let's say that this blue team now wins out of nowhere because of the boost they got from the red players. Despite these 2 teams having lost every single round, their makeup is still comprised of players who have in part won some of the rounds. And it's going to keep getting better because 2 of them are going to join from here, and 2 of them are going to join from here. Or sorry, 4 of them are going to join from each of these. Now we're back to a 12v12, but instead of the winning team getting worse players added to it, the worst teams are getting better players added to them. In essence, this is kind of functioning like a manual auto scramble. I think it's really cool, and I wanted to create a map that took this kind of idea and theme and put it into a sort of more digestible palette for these players. So what I thought of was what I'm calling the double triangle format. I don't really have like a good title for it, but this was my thought process. I wanted to make a map with 3 teams because I think I'd rather test 3 teams with the concept than 4. I'll get into that a little bit later as I talk about the level when I go back over to Team Fortress 2 Classified. But for right now, because we're still in MS Paint, let's keep going through the thought processes I was having. I'm sorry if I'm just rambling complete and utter nonsense. I apologize. So the double triangle format is an idea I had to force interactions between all these teams so that one would come out on top. Here, actually, I should do it like this. So let's say that we have let's say we have a map, right? Let's just make a big square. This is our playable space. It is comprised entirely within this square. Inside this, we need to fit 3 teams. Now, I don't know about you, but I think a really easy way to separate them is to have red team up here, a green team down here, and blue team over here. And this kind of forms a triangle sort of shape. This is actually the exact shape you'll find on a map like Sunnyside. This was how I originally made the map. And then on Sunnyside, the way it works is there is a middle area inside this shape that connects all 3 of them even more. It's actually also around here. Sunnyside is a crazy map. Anyways, back to triangles inside of squares. also known as pizza. The way that you would place the objectives is really important for a game mode like this because, in my mind, the concept of a team escaping and that being the in map reason as to why they are eliminated is kind of important. So, where are the escape routes planned? Obviously, you could think to have an escape route in the middle, but I thought I'm already going to lean into an asymmetrical direction. I might as well commit to that even harder by doing something a little bit weirder. So what I did is I gave Red an escape route. I gave Red's escape route to be, I think it was the helicopter. And yeah, in my map, it's the helicopter. So Red team up here has the helicopter, which in my little sketch I had as a helipad. Blue team, I made sure to give the boats. I'll just write the letter B and circle it for boats. And the boats are the way that blue team is going to escape. Then I was like, okay, well, red team has an escape route. Blue team has an escape route. Green team's got nothing. Why am I making this a 3-team map? Green team has literally nothing. Green team has the flag. But, okay, this is kind of not exactly how it is in my map. So let me reroute this because the flag is all the way over here. And then blue team, yeah, so the flag is over here. The boats are down here. Pardon my awful handwriting. And then the helipad is over here. And my thought process is that there are 2 points of interest between each of the teams, with them both spawning in this kind of really fascinating triangle shape. As you can see, the teams here all have a triangle connecting them, and then the teams here all have a triangle connecting them. It makes a big star. It's so cool. It's like those little stars you would doodle in class in your notebooks. I always doodled mine by doing them like this. I don't know if other people did, but that's how I learned how to do them. I'd decorate my entire pages with them. And the reason I did it like this is because I wanted an incredibly asymmetrical map that would highly feature imbalances in the construction of the geometry of the layout to better highlight the variance in quality of teams, so that when the scrambles did happen, it would be more evident if the scrambles had a meaningful impact on the pace of play and the actual objective itself. So I'm going to switch back over to TF2C and explain this in the map. Okay, so we are back in TF2C. Let me actually do my awesome round timer thing. So if I scroll out to here, it's a little hard to see, but this is green team, and if you look, there's a triangle between green, blue, and red, all a beautiful triangle. The boats are here, the helipad is there. I should put a big H for the helipad. And then the intelligence and flag is over here. If you actually look at the HUD, there's also a triangle element there too. The HUD being that this is the neutral control point, which teams need to cap to unlock the intelligence, which is over here, which is taking the form of a gas canister, which you then use to, and I use heavy air quotes here, fuel up the exit routes.
We have taken the enemy intelligence.
And the way that this works is the logic is like really complicated because I did this in a really bad way. So when I make the next version, I will simplify the logic a lot so that it's a lot more streamlined for a variety of reasons, which I'll get into later. But TLDR, if the flag is near the point, people can cap it and contest it. If the flag is not near the point, it is essentially like just non-functioning. And the reason is because I just did a really simple double layering of triggers, this one being a flag detection trigger, and then this one being the point itself. So if the flag is in this zone, the point activates. And it works pretty well. I mean, I'm not going to lie. For what I needed it to do, it did it pretty well. Pretty good. I ended up using a lot of entities I don't normally use in maps. One of my favorite little things here is that after a few seconds, because you're fueling up the helicopter, it turns on. And if you jump into it, it kills you, which is pretty fun. It's pretty awesome. There were some really funny ragdolls, and it was really fun fighting around the A point. It's definitely more fun fighting around the A point than the B point. Not just from my own experience, but also from how a lot of people were sort of talking about the actual progression of rounds. So let's talk about how the map actually played and how it went. The biggest problem with the layout of my map that you may have understood from me having to draw it out multiple times in MS Paint is that this concept is incredibly fucking confusing. The HUD is overwhelming. It is overwhelming in a bad way. And the other problem is that I don't give the players any kind of indication of what the fuck is going on. There were multiple people who during the entire 30-minute test had no idea that this area even existed, which is something that I thought might happen because let's just use let's just use common sense. You're loading into a TF2 map for the first time ever, and you have no clue what the fuck is going on. You spawn in blue side, you don't look at the prefix of the game mode, you don't know anything, you walk out here, and through this window you see a control point. Your obvious inclination is to go walk over towards it, and now, being generous, there's probably reasons why people don't assume, like, looking down here, seeing that that's B and the B's locked on the HUD. They might not know what's going on, but common sense indicates this is an objective, I should go towards it, so I'm going to. So they do. That makes sense. Telegraphing this with a control point is kind of necessary because I need people to stand here to capture it later, but it's a double-edged sword because telegraphing it as a control point so early makes people get stuck in the mindset that they need to be here, and then what ends up happening is that blue team goes here, red team goes here because they walk out of spawn and either someone like shows the helicopter over here, they walk out this lower door and they see the point up there. Red team goes on this point, and then green team, what happened a lot is they would walk out here, see that the point is right here and to the right, and then they would rocket jump up here, sticky jump, jump pad, and start fighting red team. And I'm not gonna lie, fights in this area were really fun. Fighting over this area was really fun, and I had a great time engaging in a lot of jolly combat with some of my opponents on green team. It was also really fun fighting inside the building and working the staircase, and then fighting green team from their spawn. A little bit of spawn camping happened, just a little bit. Green team spawn might be a bit prone to getting spawn camped. I probably could have foreseen that. Probably should have put a green spawn exit up on this high ground, but then there's a sight line there, and it's what am I supposed to do? It's just forget about it. It's just a little thing. So all of the spawns are a little prone to spawn camping. The only one that didn't get spawn camped at all was blue teams, because blue team spawned so far away from the point, which was actually good. I think in terms of the place on the map that worked the best, blue teams is by far the biggest success. Not only because this area is just, I'm going to be candid, the last area I designed. If you want an order of operations, it was red team. Literally in my sketchbook, I have this route sketched. I sketched a rounded thing with a tunnel underneath, with a helipad here. It's very crude, but I had the idea for this kind of thing in my map, and then the way that I do level design is I just kind of follow the routes that feel natural to exist after the initial route that I made. So obviously if this building is here, there would probably be something connected to it. I wanted a balcony overlooking this because I thought it would be fun to fight around. That would then dictate an air conditioner. The air conditioner could then be blocking a doorway. Very serendipitous, very fun level design. I highly recommend, if you don't know how to make your own maps, to just follow the vibe and feel out the paths you've already sort of alluded to and created methodology. It's very fun. Does it give the best gameplay? Let's just say no. Let's be very clear, it does not. Because one of the things I vibed out was this inner room, which is just a big, empty nothingness, which is to conceptualize the amount of bullshit I did not know what to do with it. But blue team's area is the final area I designed, and I think it shows because it has the most competence, complexity, and nuance in any of the level design. The spawn area, for one, is like a good distance away from the point, but is still placed in an interesting spot so that people up here can be sniping onto the point. It's a little far, and this area was designed before this area, so this area is very cramped, it's very weird, it's kind of bizarre, but it's still fun to fight in, question mark. It's not the worst thing ever. There's also an invisible wall here because I didn't know how to telegraph that you couldn't go much further past here, so I just kind of put an invisible clip brush here, but I put health and ammo to make it feel better. It's kind of a mess. The idea is kind of muddled. So what are some of the problems that I need to fix for the next version? I'm going to be candid and say I'm going to be making an entirely new layout based on the feedback that I got from this playtest. And I'm also going to be reworking how the logic works, and I'm going to be doing something a bit different. Here's my concept. And here's sort of the... I guess I should say the thought process moving forward with the type of design from the playtest. Because I will be honest, results from the playtest for the first couple rounds was a lot of, what the hell is going on? I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's overwhelming, and I don't even know what's happening. Oh yeah, also one of the funny Easter eggs is that this damages you. Real ones who played Atlas know that this is actually just copy-pasted straight from Atlas. I'm not even kidding. I literally ripped it out of the VMF. The other ones don't do it because you can't touch them because the clip brushes extend too far. But, like, this is awesome. I love this. Such a fun detail. So, what was interesting is that a lot of people reported thinking that the concept was interesting because my hypothesis, my theory, because this map is an experiment. I think a lot of level design should be predicated around experimenting with ideas, even if you think they're bad, so that you can know for a fact what works and what doesn't work about them. Because I think it is incredibly inhibiting if you don't create an idea simply because you think it is bad. Here is the thing. You are going to have so many terrible ideas, but there might be something really good buried inside of those ideas. One of the things that I think is very good buried inside the idea of this is the game mode itself. I think it is really fun to be playing a map and then having the teams get eliminated and having the people who were once your enemies be your allies, as in the people who beat you are now on your team. I noticed a lot of people getting really excited in the later rounds when people were forcibly put on their team who had just won. I think that that is a really cool thing. Something I also need to fix is that when the map resets itself, it doesn't properly disperse people to other teams. I now know how to do that. I didn't implement it in this version because I didn't have enough time, but I will be implementing that in the next version, hopefully. Don't know when that's going to be. But like I was saying, there's a lot of merit in trying these ideas that are maybe a little bit bad, because you need to know if there's something worth doing in there. The entire thesis of this map is it fun for the winning team to get eliminated in the elimination game mode? A lot of people had a lot of hesitation about the concept, but as they played it more and towards the later rounds, they had a lot of fun. The layout doesn't really help the game mode, but I think that that's actually a strength in this instance because it shows how much potential the game mode actually has, that people want iteration on the concept, they just want a new layout to better highlight the idea. My double triangle method kind of sucked. The star map level design for this is not what I need. What I need is more centralization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you all of the ideas that I'm going to do to streamline the game mode and make it better. One of the things that immediately I'm going to remove is this point to unlock the intelligence. It's not that it's bad, it's just that it slows down the pace of the map in a way that isn't very fun. I think what I should do instead is I should have a timer. And that timer ends... When that timer ends, everyone dies. So let's put it this way. There is a bomb on this island. And the bomb is going to go off at the end of 3 minutes, no matter what. And what the game mode is every single team trying to get the intelligence, but let's just say like gas canister, and bring it to an escape vehicle and then capture that vehicle, and then their team gets eliminated after, like, let's say 5 seconds of capturing the vehicle. So they, in essence, escape. I think that's really cool. What it would then lead to is the ability for the gas canister that is now left on the ground after that team gets eliminated to be picked up by a different team and then taken to a different place. Like, let's say... Oh, did I hit my Cluck Herbert button? I hit my Cluck Herbert hotkey. Let's say that green team captures the boats. When green team captures the boats, they get on the boats and they ride away, and then they poof out of existence, and the intelligence is dropped by the person who was holding it. Now that that person has dropped the intelligence, someone else can pick it up. From blue team, from red team, and the map keeps going even after someone captured the point. I think this is really cool. I think this is the type of iteration that the actual kind of map needs. And I think that if I'm going to do this concept, I should maybe look into possibly doing a 4-team variant of this map instead of a 3-team one. And I think what I'm also going to do is I'm going to change the theme of the map to be more focused on a volcano, because I think a volcano that is masquerading as a secret base is the perfect type of environment for this type of map and theme to take place in, because then I can use the volcano as the set piece that ends the map. So just to reiterate, I'm going to condense everything down to one round. So instead of one team escaping and then everyone going back to their spawns and the intelligence getting reset and blah 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 and you having to cap the point and then unlock it, the round is going to keep playing until there is only one team left, or the map time, like the timer of the round ends. So that way the map stays fast paced, it stays high energy, and the focus is on all the teams kind of scrambling to get to an exit. I think that is way more fun and has a lot more sort of, maybe not variance isn't the right word, but a lot more sort of tension in the rounds than this currently has. This kind of feels like a lot of DMing and team deathmatch and just kind of general chaos, which is fun. I'm not gonna lie, as someone who really enjoys maps like Hightower and Sisyphus and things like that, I really enjoy that kind of gameplay, and I guess it bleeds into all the maps that I make because that's the kind of stuff I like, is just fighting people in unique areas and doing crazy stuff with anchors. But I think a lot more focus and direction can really aid this. So we're gonna hop back into MS Paint, and I'm gonna show you what A2 is gonna look like. I don't know when it's gonna be done, but it's my concepts going forward into the next version of this map. And we're back in MS Paint. Okay, so here's my idea. Let's take a circle. This circle is going to be like the bounding box of our map, right? This is the entire size of our map. Inside of it, in the middle, is going to be volcano. And this volcano is going to house 2 unique escape methods. Possibly 3. I don't know what the third one is yet, but it's going to definitely have 2. One of them is at the top of it. There's going to either be a balcony here, or literally in the center of it. That is for helicopter. We're going to have a helicopter in the mouth of the volcano. Underneath it, in an underground canal system, there will be the boats. So what I'm going to do is sort of show you a vertical. This is our volcano. The helicopter is going to be up here on this platform. The boats are going to be down here underground in a canal system that goes like underneath. There's going to be like tunnels and then like railings that like overlap everything, and then the boat is going to be like sitting down here. It's going to have like maybe a little platform here. This is a horrible sketch, but this is what a lot of level design looks like. in my sketchbook. But the purpose of this is so that now the escape routes. Let's just put like this little texture here. Actually, here let's do this. Let's make it orange. It's like Counter Strike. Look, the orange and white bomb site texture I would always use. Real ones know. If you know me for the orange like texture, the roadblock sign texture I would use on bomb sites, holy, you've been playing my maps for a while. Shout out, shout out. But in this middle is going to be both of the escape routes. And what is going to happen is the fuel, the gas canister, is going to be in a centralized point sandwiched between these two layers. So now, every team, let's just say for sake of it argument that there's only 3 teams right now. So green, red, and blue are now all equidistant from the entire objective. If I really want to, I can make each side of the island like a little bit asymmetrical to the other one. I don't think that will change the gameplay that much because it might change the gameplay a lot actually, but let's just say that green team has a high ground route here on the slashes and a low ground route here on the X's. Red team has a high ground on the slashes, a low ground on the X's, and then following the pattern, blue team's high ground would be here, and their low ground would be here. And this way, it would be if you want to get to the boats, you go out the left way of your spawn. If you want to get to the helicopter, you go out the right way. And if you want to get to the intelligence, you just go dead set down middle. That would be my thought process, and the reasoning is so that when the round progresses, let's say that green team escapes, so green team escapes, red and blue team don't need to reset and go back to their starting positions. The round doesn't need to reset, it can continue because the map is already engineered in a way where all of the action is taking place in the middle of the map, so they're already fighting over the objective where it already is. Whereas in my map, as it is right now, that isn't really the case. If you look at it from the top, the objective is placed so far away from every single team that you could go the entire round without ever stepping foot over here and only fighting like in these two capture point areas. Whereas in this, the objective here is simply layered into the same region of the map that these two things are, but are on different, let's just say, like Y levels. So you'll be fighting in the same region, but not the same height as everyone else. And then you're going to be exploring more of the map. You're actually going to see more of the map. You're going to see more of the teams. You're going to see more of the actual sort of style of the design. And then by the end of it, the volcano is going to erupt and everyone's going to die. And then I can have lava go everywhere on the island. And it could be so crazy and insane. And it'll be awesome. And it'll be really cool. So that is my idea to streamline this mode going forward, to get more of the actual fun out of it than what is being presented. And I may make this 14. I think that this layout with the volcano and the 4 teams and the 4 things overlapping, I think it would work better in a 4-team environment, but I'm going to hold off on that until I get more of a feeling for the actual layout of the map and the layout of this area. My process is going to be designing the uppermost part of the map first, and then developing the part below that, and then the part below that. And the reasoning is so that I don't accidentally make this lower area too small, and then this smaller because of that, and then this like super tiny because I don't know if you know this, volcanoes are, at least the one I want to make is usually this kind of like sloping upwards cone shape. And it'll be really awkward if my volcano ends up looking more like a trophy than a volcano. It got its like sides pushed in here. Looks like a neck. Looks like someone's smiling. Yeah, that's that's not what I want my map to look like. But yeah, this has been the first devlog for 3SD Dorito. I'm just gonna call this the Dorito devlog because there's a chance that it's a 14 map in the future. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe you don't know. God only knows. I don't like. I forgot why I made this bind. I think I was testing something with the Cluck Herbert AI, but I don't know what exactly. Oh my god! If I set it on like a volcano island, I can have chickens. Oh, it's definitely gonna be on a volcano island. Cluck Herbert's making a comeback, baby. But yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for keeping up with the development of my maps. I hope to keep working on this in the near future, but obviously things happen, and it's probably going to take a while. For full transparency, I have been working on this A1 for about 3 weeks, almost a month now. I had the original idea for this map in February, didn't really get around until March, and then most of April was me finding time when I could to spend a little bit of time working on this, and then I only got it finished early May. So, iteration time on this game mode, which I guess I'll just call the escape game mode for the time being, is about a month for the A1. And considering I'm making an entirely new layout again from scratch, it's probably going to be at least 2 weeks before I have anything more to show. A huge thank you to AltTab for playtesting my map, and a huge thank you for the community being an absolutely wonderful place to get playtesting thoughts, opinions, and feedback from a group of people who are a big fan of the things that the dev team and others are a part of. It is very cool. It's always really fun to jump back into playtesting into community servers and see what's going on because I played some really fun maps. I'm probably going to make some other videos on some of the maps that I played because I have thoughts on them as well. But seeing as how I have spent almost, it feels like an hour talking about just my map, maybe I need to collect my thoughts a little bit better before I present them to anyone. Because, wow, this has been a whole lot of yap. My apologies. So yeah, looking forward to turning this into a big volcano. Bye-bye.